You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's.
Necessary, thankfully. Not this week.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Welcome back to the Hardpoint episode number 46. My name. Oh, scandalous.
Ooh.
My name is Josh. I go by Onexpunchxdad online.
My name is Cody. I go by C Murd.
And this is the premiere not having anything to talking about, but we're talking anyway podcast. Welcome back.
We should have named it that.
We should have.
That flows off the tongue a lot better.
A little wordy. The acronym would have been kind of long, but we would have figured it out. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. I am so excited to do episode 46 for the first and last time.
Yeah. Ah, man, I never really thought about it like that. Like every time we do an episode, it's gone.
It's a lot of firsts and a lot of lasts.
Really puts it all in perspective for you a little bit, doesn't it? Man, it could be
every episode is a new book with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Just a unique snowflake of an occurrence, really.
It really is. Kind of like your day.
Yeah.
Every day is the last day you'll ever live that day.
That's true. But the podcast thing feels even more significant somehow. I can't tell why. I can't say why. I feel like it's deja vu at this point, but you went to another wedding this weekend, right?
I did go to another wedding.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple weddings in the last couple of weeks.
We should
I've been out of town.
We should turn this into a segment. Is just Cody goes to weddings.
Just update on the Spartan minute.
Yeah.
The Cody's wedding
Spartan
minute.
Wedding minute, and then other stuff.
We'll just stack these. Yeah, the other. That's their run sheet. Spartan, wedding, all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. So 2 weddings, and I went out of town last week. We talked about. We went out of town this weekend. This time was an overnighter though.
Ooh.
We had a little bit of a wedding action going on in Round Rock specifically.
Round Rock.
Little town right outside of Austin.
Yep.
And
neat little place.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Have you been to Round Rock?
I have been to Round Rock, yes.
Do you know about the Round Rock donuts?
I have not heard about the Round Rock donuts.
Okay. Well, that's a whole... We got there, and so first of all, we took our daughter because my wife did not want to be that far away from her.
Right.
And we also took my mom to babysit because this was a wedding where they said no babies allowed.
Huh. Don't bring the
no
baby.
Kids allowed. Yeah. Keep them kids out of here. So we were in the pickle of like, don't want to be that far from her, but can't bring her. So we rented an Airbnb, brought my mom, brought her daughter, and we were able to kind of peel off, go to the wedding. But on Saturday, when we got down there, they have a little, downtown scene. We're all suckers for a little nice walkable downtown. And we get there, and there's a noticeable line of not only cars, but human beings wrapped around this kind of inconspicuous looking building. Like there's nothing. It's not like the LA donut shop where there's like a giant donut on top or whatever. Like It's kind of nothing.
Right.
And we look it up, and apparently it's a thing. And people kept sliding up on Taylor's story saying, "Did you try the donuts?" So it's a thing, apparently, that we'd never heard of.
Gotta go get a Round Rock donut. Did you get a Round Rock donut?
We didn't because it was hot. Dude, it's one of those things where you and I always have that running joke of like when it's 105, like smoking a cigarette and drinking a thermos of hot soup.
Yeah, that's not donut weather.
It was so hot, dude. And that
weather.
line it was an outdoor line. And I was like, no chance. And luckily at the wedding, they had a few of these. So I was able to have one.
Oh, good. Okay, so you did get the donut.
I did get the donut. Nothing on cherry donuts. Let me just put that out right out in front.
Donut stop.
Yeah, just no comparison.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was good. The wedding was incredible, man. They had my favorite part by far. They had a live band.
Oh,
So not
that's
a DJ, like a live, like 5-piece band with multiple frontmen that all had these like bedazzled, like glitter suit. Maybe not
yes.
glittery, just like sparkly suit.
Yeah.
They were showmen, dude. Like I couldn't keep my eyes off. You and I are both fans of live music.
Sure.
And there's something about, even if it's not a concert necessarily or your type of music, just watching somebody in their element playing live in front of a crowd, there's something that just draws me in about that.
Definitely.
And, early in the evening, they're playing kind of some smooth jazz, which I like jazz. I can listen to jazz. And watching and listening to jazz live is really cool to me. I really enjoyed it. You got the bassist who's just in his groove. You got the sax guy. You got the guitar guy.
They were riffing?
They were just
give me
I recognized a few of the songs. I think they did like jazz covers.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
But there were times where you can tell like they're not reading off sheets right now. They're just they're in the pocket.
Go. They're in the pocket. They're going with the flow, man.
The drummer, man, everything about it was cool. And as the evening progressed, the music ramped up, and by the end, they're playing, just banger after banger. It was a movie it was a wedding that looked like it was out of a movie. It had this giant tent, all these string lights, the stage at one end. It was right next to this giant mansion on this like beautiful covered property with all these trees and everything. It was great. Great wedding. Had a blast. Danced, drank, ate delicious food. All the things that you want from a wedding.
I don't go to a lot of last wedding I went to. You know which wedding that was?
Mine.
Yours.
Yeah.
Maybe
we're in baby and wedding season, like without a doubt.
I think you're in that age gap too, or age bracket rather, where all your friends are getting married up and having the babies and it's like I
feel like I've been in this window a few years though. Like I'm ready to emerge on the other side of it.
It tapers off. Don't worry. There's hope.
Yeah. So
there's hope.
It was cool. Have you ever watched? It's kind of a unique position. Just watched live jazz. Like ever been in a club playing live jazz or anything?
Yeah. Like it's not something that I mean, maybe ought to, because I do like jazz. It's very comforting, soothing music in a weird way. But never like sought out and been like, let's go see some jazz. But I have
next time you come over, that's what we're doing.
But I have seen it played, so for sure. Like it's one of those things. Like I love this. Probably not gonna do it or see it again for 3 years. But,
right.
You know. But it's like a couple of weeks ago, someone asked about the skill or the talent, right? And I was like, piano. Can you imagine being able to just like, I got like 30 free minutes. You sit down at a piano in an like in an airport or in a mall or something, and you're just like, everyone's just like filming you. I want it to be me.
Sick. I really enjoyed it. There's something about just like the musicianship and just seeing people like, you got the bassist that's over here like slapping that ass, ding, 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 ding. And he's like, him and the drummer just like locked eyes, like just,
I feel like I'm there right now. It's incredible.
The keyboard, keyboard guy going.
Yeah.
Guitar guy, neck about to
what was he doing?
Fly off his shoulders.
Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, it was. I felt weird because I think I made eye contact with I couldn't stop just like watching the band, man. That's what I was enjoying. So
that's good.
Anyways,
that's good.
Wedding.
Did you dance?
I did dance.
My man.
Danced the night away.
Danced the night away? Did you?
Yeah, danced like nobody was watching.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, they had light up glow sticks and light up tambourines.
Yeah, man. It sounds like a lit wedding.
It was cool. Hopefully it's the last for a while.
So out of the 9 million weddings you've been to this year, let's give this a numeric rating. Let's rack and
don't
stack.
even remember. I will say the one knock on this, and it was all outside, like the entire thing.
Oh, and it was hot.
It was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of hot. So, and we thought that once the sun went down, there would be some relief to the heat.
Yeah.
And it was just relentless, dude. We left at 10:30, just hot as fuck
gross.
outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's take that
So
suit.
that was the
take that suit to the dry cleaners straight away.
yeah, no shit. It's straight up swamp, a swamp underneath there.
Oh, God.
It was great. I would give it a 8.8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 is not bad, man.
Yep. Food,
Banging.
delicious. Band. They had dude. They like late McDonald's. You walk up into the mansion and somebody just got an assortment of nuggets.
Let's go.
Burgers.
Let's go.
All different types of sauces, full bar, whatever you want, dude. Anything.
Dude, nothing hits like if you're out partying and you go get some food, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're out partying and someone provides you some food, chicken Sammy, burger, nuggets,
That's nice.
free of charge, let's go.
So nice.
It's good. I'm proud of you.
How was your weekend? Thanks, man.
I had a good weekend. I had a slow weekend. It rained here.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah. Did I get it? Did I talk about the dogs? I talked about the dogs last week.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Dogs are still here. The pup.
Okay.
The
Wow.
The pup is still here. He's a sweetie. Doubled in size practically. So he is healthy and well. Mom, I think, is a little sick. We're trying to figure out what we need to do for her because I think she's a little wormy. But we're trying to figure out what to do for her. But the pup, I love. Would die for that dog.
What's his name again?
Pliskin, I've named him.
Pliskin.
Pliskin.
Okay. I'm thinking Lisco or
Like-
something along those lines.
Like Iroquois Pliskin from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Pliskin. I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it rained. It's cooling off here, thankfully. Actually woke up the other day and it was a little chilly, and that was nice. I unhooked my hoodie from a clothes hanger the other day and threw it on. And was like, it's time.
So this isn't the fake out. Are we being faked out?
Still the fake out, because when I got in my car this afternoon, it was hot enough to cook a cookie in there. But the mornings and evenings are nice. I can sit out on my porch and not pass away now. So
okay.
for that, I'm grateful.
The heat is significantly more bearable if it cools down after the sun goes down.
Yeah.
I like heat during the day is one thing. Okay. But cool down once the sun goes down, when it's dark and it's 99 degrees outside. That sucks.
And that's part of the thing of like, I don't remember that growing up. Like I remember being hot in the day.
Yeah.
And when the sun went down, it was just nice outside. It was just normal. And I'm sure there's parts of the world that are still like that, but it used to be like that in this region of the country, and it's not anymore. Being outside in the month of August in Texas, especially the North Texas, Dallas area, West Texas, Southwest Oklahoma, is hot.
Yeah.
It's hot.
No matter the time. 3 a.m. blazing.
3 a.m. Yeah, we had our air conditioner poop out on us a couple of days this summer. I feel like I had the worst luck in the world with air conditioners. Luckily, it was just like 1 or 2 whole days together this summer. But waking up 2 a.m., I'm like, it shouldn't be this hot at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Look at my thermostat, 85 interior. Hotter inside than out. Miserable.
Hey, man. It's global warming.
Yeah, man. The doggone liberals are heating up the world with all their doggone. We're gonna switch to our first segment here. It's called "What Are You Crushing?" We talk about whatever media, TV shows, movies, music, books, poetry, literature, whatever we're processing, whatever we're taking in. We regurgitate here. I'm gonna go first. Is that okay?
Go.
I
would love for you to go first.
I'm gonna talk about a thing, and it's a thing.
Who are you voting for?
No, it's a thing that I I contemplated passing along to you before I talked about it because it's something that we've never really talked. It is a game, but it's not really a game that like you and I would be like, oh, that looks good. I was watching that. I was looking at that. I was going to get it. Oh, you finally got it. How is it? It's not any of that. And I kind of wanted you to have a point of reference for it, but I'm going to let this be your point of reference for it because it was so sneaky in how it hooked me. And it has honestly gotten me through the weekend in a way that I didn't expect it to, but I'm all in on this game. All in. And the beauty of it is it's free. It's free to play.
All right. Even better.
The other beauty and maybe curse because it'll eat your life is it's a phone game. And I've never talked about this on the show. I don't think even you and I have talked about it. I hate phone games. I hate them. I hate them. I don't even like playing games that are real and just got ported to the phone, typically.
Right.
One exception, Stardew Valley is very fun on the phone if you can't find a way to play it anywhere else. But I downloaded a phone game, which is a port of a real game. I'll say that. So it is not a mobile game. This is not Temple Run. This is not this is not Flappy Bird or Angry Bird or any of the birds.
App Store is open.
He's open. He's scanning. He's looking. I downloaded a game, which is an indie game that was produced for PC originally. It's now been ported. I think it is on Game Pass. It's on the Switch, I believe, but it's on iOS as well, free of charge. It's called Vampire Survivors.
Not Candy Crush.
It is not Candy Crush. It is it's a roguelike, which for anyone, we don't typically play games like this. I don't know if our fans play games like this, but I will tee it up the best I can. A roguelike is basically you start, every time you hit start game, you are level 0. Vampire Survivors. That's it. Yes, sir. Okay. Here, hang on. Hold it back up. So I'll put you on the big cam here. Vampire Survivors. Fairly well known in the online and indie gaming world. It's actually been met with some acclaim. There's actually some controversy surrounding this game, and I'll get to that here in a second.
Okay.
But you start, every time you hit start, you start the game, you are level 0. And the idea is you just walk around, and all of your attacks are automatic, meaning all you're doing is walking your guy around. Your first attack that you have is a whip. So you have this little whoosh, and it just every few seconds it whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Okay.
And so there's bats, and they fly directly to you, and you walk around and you kill the bats. When you kill enough bats, they drop little orbs, little diamonds. Okay. You pick those up, they give you XP, you level up, and then you can buy a better whip, or you can buy a Bible that flies around you and smacks the enemies, or you can buy a wand that shoots powers at them. And you continue to kill the bats, and then skeletons come, and you're killing them, and you're getting more of these orbs, right? These jewels, and you unlock new powers, or you can unlock better versions of the power you already have. You can get a better whip, you can get a better wand, you can get a better Bible, or more Bibles, whatever. The idea is you become this overpowered death machine, and you're just walking around trying to level up as high as you can before you get killed. And I feel like if this game had no popularity whatsoever and no one in the world knew about it, I'm not doing a good job of selling it. It is very much like an 8-bit kind of aesthetic. Yeah. Right? So it looks kind of like Castlevania meets Gauntlet, that, Nintendo era, basically, Game Boy era graphics. The audio reward system in that game, when you do something good, when you get health, when you open a chest, it is akin to what I imagine hitting it big on a slot machine feels like. It is absolutely a cathartic experience because of the audio rewards that this game provides. And I'll tell you, I was having dreams of these sounds in my sleep. I was legitimately the sound of like leveling up picking up the orbs, opening chests, killing the enemies. I'm addicted, man. It's so and it's cool to me because you can open it up a good if you do a long run, like I think the highest I've gotten right now is like level 70. So I got pretty overpowered.
Pretty good.
Enemies fill the screen just everywhere. And that took about 30 or 40 minutes. So it's maybe not
pause your game. Like if
you can, I haven't, you know how sometimes like a phone app will like, you'll pull something up on Instagram and you'll be like, oh, I want to show that to someone. You turn your phone off and then you open it up and the app resets your feed.
Yes.
So I have not tested whether you can open up Vampire Survivors, get to a certain point, pause it, and turn your screen off and leave it for a long time. I know you can turn it off and turn it right back on, and it comes right out of sleep mode. But I don't if I walk away for 5 minutes
or overnight,
right?
Yeah.
There is no save state. I will say that. So it's not. I would say like you're probably rolling the dice if you think you're gonna have it the next morning. Maybe I don't know, but. So it's not necessarily a smoke break game, but it's a good lunch break game. Like if you got 20 or 30 minutes and you're like me and you can take 12,000 calories in 2 minutes, and you have 20, 30 minutes to burn, throw in Vampire Survivors. It's fun.
You're selling me on it.
I'm telling you.
I got a couple questions and a vow. I've already downloaded it.
Okay.
I'll try it.
Okay, I'm glad.
I'll try it. If not tonight, tomorrow night. You've sold me enough to at least download it and try it.
Before you go to bed tonight, add this. You don't have to add. This is like a vow addendum. Play one game. You might get your buck. I think the first time I played, I got to level 10 and died.
Okay.
Play it, sleep on it, then play it again tomorrow. Once you get to about your second or third run, you're gonna be like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
And I can see how something like that is addicting. It's kind of to draw a comparison to something very familiar with us, like Call of Duty Zombies, which is the draw is to see how far or how high you can go, and every time you fail, you're basically starting all the way back over. So I can see how that would suck you in. And then on top of that, if there's some sort of audio system that's very rewarding, very addicting, like you said, I see it. I'm not having a hard time understanding why this would claw you in.
I will tell you it is 100%. And it's actually why there's some controversy tied to this game because of its addictiveness and its perceived kind of dumbness. Like it's literally like to play it on the phone. I'm assuming on a computer, you're just clicking, you're moving your mouse around, right? Same thing on an Xbox. You probably just need the joystick. Really, you're just walking the guy around and killing the people. On the phone, finger on the screen, right? Well, I'm just moving like this. It's a dumb game, but it's a very, very rewarding game. I've spent zero money on it. There are things that you can buy. There's some DLC, which I think there's a lot of levels that you can unlock with new enemies. There's hundreds of different kind of enemies, tons of power-ups and stuff like that, and then you can unlock more characters with in-game currency. So it is... for someone who hates phone games, which is me, don't like phone games, keep them away from me. I'm having a hard time putting this one down in my spare time.
I wonder if I could try it on the iPad, have a little bit of a bigger screen.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, man.
A little bit.
You can also, it starts portrait. It's in portrait mode. You can switch it in the options to landscape as well if you prefer to have like a wide. But yeah, man, on an iPad, that'd be... I'd get down with that.
Next question. How did you hear about this or come across it?
Yeah. No. I listen to gaming podcasts I've talked about. Get Played is one of my favorites. And they actually did an episode right when it came out. It had to have been like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. I have an odd way of like remembering very specific podcast episodes. But they talked about it on there, and I was kind of scanning for games because I just have been needing something to like fill my time that's not like doom scrolling on Reels or whatever. But I was like games, and it was like top of the list, and I fell in love.
Now, when you say the goal is to become like an overpowered So it's inevitable that at some point you're going to die, right? Like you become overpowered, but you become overwhelmed.
If there's a level
At some
cap,
point.
this may be Googleable, widely Googleable information. If there's a level cap or a you did it, I haven't found it yet.
Do you want to know that, or do you want that to remain a secret?
I mean, this game is not like it's not like holding its cards close to its vest with a bunch of like secrets and lore. Like there's some stuff in there. There's a bestiary where you can go and all of the enemies that you've kind of killed, you can go and read about them. But they're all kind of goofy, just like explanations for all the monsters that you can kill, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, I just play the game. I'll figure it out.
Wow.
You know, maybe one day I get to level 100 and I can finally die.
This guy got to crazy high level. There's a Reddit page. It's not hard to believe, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure people are. I mean, it's been out for 2 or 3 years. I'm sure there's runs that went into the thousands. But it is, I will say, once you get into, so you have a limited number of power-ups that you can get, and once you all get them all to level, I think it's 9 or 10, I can't remember. You're not going to unlock anything else with chests or anything. You can get more in-game currency, or you can get more health. But the weapons do have kind of a max cap.
So you're just lasting at that point. You're not upgrading. You're just lasting.
You're vampire surviving, buddy. Once you get into the we'll call it like the post level 50 levels, it is very much like a screen filled with enemies and a tiny little circle, hopefully filled with you, surrounded by all of your armaments and weapons and protective countermeasures that you've put in place.
Right.
But yeah, it's hype, man. And I've been busting that out when I've got a free half hour. I run some Vampy Survivors for sure.
Well, it's downloaded, so I'll play it tonight and I will report back. Maybe next week my crushing will be Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors. What are you crushing, bud?
Ooh, all right. I'll give you my very, very quick Spartan minute here.
Yeah, please do.
I feel like I got in way over my head, bro. I'm not even going to lie.
What happened?
Well, I looked at what I was going to have to do. I'm still doing it. I'm committed. I wanted everybody to hold me accountable. This isn't me withdrawing. But I got an email or something, and somehow I got on their website and started actually looking at some of these obstacles, looking at what I'm going to be doing. I think I underestimated it. I was kind of expecting just like this dumb, maybe not dumb, but just like I'm going to crawl under this, I'm going to climb over that, whatever. It's not going to be that big of a deal.
Can we break out like what events specifically you were the most sketched out by that kind of took you off guard?
One would be, so imagine like pull here with a wire like this.
Yeah.
And you have to like grab with your hands and your feet and like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can
you're completely left. Can I?
Yeah.
I've never done that. There's a rope climb, apparently.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's go back to the traverse the rope.
Okay.
You're doing a single leg tuck to get your hooks in over the rope, right?
Right.
At that point, it's a little bit of core strength because your legs are doing most of the work. They're hooked in, right? Little bit of challenge, right? Because a rope's going to have some give with your weight. But all you're really doing is that right there. I would do some leg tucks to strengthen that core, buddy.
I'll do that. So it's 3.2 miles.
Of rope climbing or like the whole course? That changes everything.
The whole course.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Never done one.
So, yes, I think fresh I could do it no problem. I think what I'm worried about is like fatigue. Like imagine like a mile in, 2 miles in, 3 miles in, and then trying to do that. There's 20 obstacles over a 3.2 mile span. So there's some running involved, but there's a lot of obstacle. So I guess I'm just worried about like grip strength potentially shot once I get there, or legs done or whatever, you know. And on top of all this, not only does it look a lot harder than I anticipated, I am probably the most out of shape I've been in,
No.
yes, months. Dude,
Look great.
the next, well, thanks. I feel like a fat lard. I'm not even going to lie. I feel
I don't want to hear
so
you talk
horrible.
about yourself that way. Come on, man. You're not a fat
I-
lard.
I feel so out of shape. I feel so underprepared. I feel so not up to being able to do this.
You never done it before. You might do it and rock it.
Maybe.
Come on.
Having a kid and staying close to anything resembling like eating healthy and staying active and going to the gym has proven to be so hard.
Well, yeah, you've never done that
So
either.
hard.
But
No.
you're doing it,
Barely,
buddy.
I'm not really working out. It's tough, man. It's tough. So, and here's the other kicker. It's in like 25 days. It's not even like I have 60 days, 90 days to prepare. I have less than 30 days
It's not.
to
It's
get
not
my
a,
body in it.
It's not a UFC fight, man. You're gonna be fine. Do your cardio, strengthen your core, do a little muscle. Dude, I have every bit of faith that you are gonna be a top contributor on your team to your end time. I'm not being facetious, man. I think you're gonna do great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, I don't like to hear you sharpshoot yourself, man. It makes me upset. You're my buddy. I don't like when people talk shit about my buddies. No, man.
Yeah.
You've already got great muscle density. I'm stroking your ego here. You got great muscle density, man. I've seen how you work. I've seen how you train. You know, you're fairly disciplined in the way you eat, even when you eat Wingstop or whatever that we love to eat.
Yeah.
Work in some things that, you know, might give you an edge. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, what do you get if you win this? But okay, you probably won't win. I wouldn't win. Most people are not going to win. One team's going to win, and none of us look like that team. They have been training for the last 90, 180 days. Nobody wants to be that team. Just go, have fun what you want, and drink some beer and eat some Wingstop and go home. I think you'll feel proud.
I hope. I just want to finish. I don't want to fail all the obstacles. I don't want to not make it to the end. I don't want to be the straggler in my group. Like, I wish I would have taken this a little more seriously. I wish I would have looked at what I was going to be doing before I agreed to it. You know, a lot of things I wish I would have done differently, but I'm in this position and I appreciate all your kind words. It does make me feel better.
We've talked about it.
Try really hard.
We've talked about it every week for the last. This will make the third show in a row that we've talked about it.
Yes.
Didn't really hit on it too much that first one because the episode got ruined. But I think you've already been in a great mindset. Yes, 25 days from now, those things that were wigging you out, climbing a rope, scaling a rope, doing whatever with a rope, it's not going to seem that big, man. You're gonna feel ready.
I hope I feel like a Spartan.
You're gonna feel like a Spartan. You've acquainted yourself with the challenges.
Yes.
I just gotta go for the gold, baby.
I even have a list of like top 10 workouts to do to prepare yourself. I've started running. I'm trying to train more like run and then do like 3 sets of something and then run and then do 3 sets of something, like mesh my cardio and resistance training into one
You're
gooey blob.
You're gonna be a monster. You're gonna be a monster.
Thanks.
Just in time for hoodie season.
Yeah, just not to cover it all.
Get
up.
all that muscle, get all ripped and cover it up. All right, Spartan Minute. I think this was a good Spartan Minute for you, buddy. I gotta be honest with you.
I feel better. I'm probably gonna build it up all week and then dump it
No.
every show, every weekend. So
No.
it's gonna be y'all's job to talk me off the ledge.
What else are you crushing, big man?
Well, the other thing, and I'll make this kind of quick. I know you are probably pretty hardly stanced like against anything like this. Maybe not, but if I had to bet, I would say you were. My wife signed me up for. Have you ever heard of F45?
Is that like is it like a race type of race?
No, it's a workout. It's like CrossFit adjacent.
Oh, okay.
Not the same thing, but like the idea.
I remember.
Is
it anything like P90X? I remember when P90X was like a big.
I don't even know what that is. That's like a routine, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. The answer should have just been no. I don't know what that is. Sorry. What is it? My bad.
So it's a class. Like you go and you sign up, and I went today.
Tell me what
There's
it's
a
called
class,
again. F what?
F45.
F45. Got it.
Yeah. So it's group working out, and today it's different every time you go. Apparently, today there was 6 stations consisting of 2 different workouts. So basically 6 stations of one superset, and one was like a strength, and then one was a core. And the idea is you kind of train as a group. You know, everybody's at a different station or whatever, but it's a class. It's a workout class, basically.
Okay.
And so this week is like, you can go for free, basically. I think they're just trying to up their subscribers or their guests or whatever the fuck, memberships is what I was looking for.
$50 a week next year. Can't wait.
Right. So my wife found it. Everything I kind of like laid out earlier about me not feeling great about the Spartan race, I told her already. And so she found this thing and she signed me up. I went today and I really liked it because it's 45 minutes, just boom, start to finish. You have some accountability there. You know, I was talking to the lead instructor at the very end. I told him I'm a new dad. He said he was too. And I was just saying it's so easy to talk yourself out of going to the gym right now when you have a lot going on. And something like this, you can't talk yourself out of going. Like if you're paying for it, or even if it's just a free class, you're going to go. And if you go, there's enough people that are doing it with you where you're not going to half-ass it like you might at the gym, or even leave early, or not do your entire workout. So the accountability and like community of it was really, really cool.
I could see that. I wanted to ask, and I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you feel like you perform differently with like other people, namely strangers, like doing the workout with you? Do you feel like it augments your performance or changes it at all?
I think so. I mean, there's not a leaderboard. There's no first through last place, but yeah, like you definitely want to kind of go a little hard in there when there's other people around you doing it, just that kind of community thing. And you got the trainers walking around. They're just blasting music in there. They're walking around kind of pumping everybody up. So I don't think it's something I would continue in the long run, because I think it is like a couple $100 a month. I mean, it's kind of unreasonably expensive, but at least in the short term, while I'm trying to kind of get my fitness wheels back underneath me, having a class at a specific time that I have to show up at that time, and I'm not going to be able to cut it short or mail it in, and you're just kind of like bang for the buck. I was in there for 45 minutes and burned like 500 calories. I don't think I could do that in the gym in 45 minutes from the time I walk in to the time I walk out.
I will say I've never done the F45. Obviously, I just heard about it. But anytime I've done group high intensity, like someone does it for PT at work or anything like that, I had my watch on. It's like, wow, I just burned 700 calories in 40 minutes.
Right.
It's insane, man.
I
think that's great, man. I think that absolutely gets after like your concerns for your fitness and cardio endurance level for Spartan, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking if I do that for the next 30 days, maybe sign up a month. I don't know. let that kind of carry me.
Monster.
I'll be ready to go.
Disgusting. It's gonna be biblical. I can't wait.
Oh man. So that's my crushing. How long have we been going?
We're sitting at about 40 minutes. I did want to ask you about something that we talked about last week on the crushings. You had kind of mentioned, I talked a little bit last week. Didn't mean for any new listeners or anyone who normally is with the show. It did get a little gloomy. We talked a little bit about 9/11, just some 9/11 kind of reflections, some documentaries I've been watching. But you mentioned off pod that you did check out the Naudet brothers kind of accidental 9/11 documentary on YouTube. Wanted to ask you like just some of your thoughts about that.
Yes, I watched it. My first thought was I cannot believe that was all captured by accident. I mean, you set it up last week, but they went to document just this fire station, right?
Yeah.
And that moment, you described it perfectly. They go out for a gas leak or whatever, and they're all kind of like standing on the street, and you hear this airplane that's, it's oddly loud, I guess. It gets everybody's attention. You can hear it just screaming in, and everybody kind of like looks up, and right when the camera pans over, you can actually see, a few moments before impact and then impact of the first plane.
Yeah. And that shot is regarded as the only like solid and stable shot of that first plane hitting the like from this documentary. There are some other kind of glancing, like I think some guy on a highway caught it like as he was going through the Lincoln Tunnel or something like that. But this is a full on, you watch the plane in pretty good resolution just pierce this skyscraper. It's nutty.
Right. So what that documentary set out to be, and then what they actually captured, that just blew my mind. This is such a bad example of a comparison that I was almost hesitant to even draw it. So don't think too far into this, but it reminds me in a way of the Metallica documentary where the Some Kind of Monster, where they go to just like film them making this album, and then what ends up happening, what they capture was nowhere near what they intended to capture, and it was so much more than anybody could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
And so just with that part of it, they go to document something fairly normal and walk away with something that was more than anybody could have ever conceptualized or thought of or expected or anything.
Yeah. And it makes it more chilling to me, and it certainly is kind of this just like the aspect of real life, like both in that and the Some Kind of Monster, where it's just like we really are not in control of anything, are we? Like this is 100% like just everything is just a series of accidents. But yeah, with the 9/11 documentary, it's the way it evolves from that, like they're following the rookie around, they're interviewing firefighters, they're waiting for a fire, like that's the whole thing, like they embed with this fire department, follow this rookie, and no fires happen, like no calls come in for weeks, and they're just like, they think they've probably like struck out at this point. And then they end up giving one of the most concise accounts, or filming one of the most concise accounts of not only the impact of the first tower, but on the ground at ground zero at the World Trade Center when the second tower hits, the people jumping out of the buildings, the firefighters, you literally see firefighters going up staircases that they're not going to come back down. The collapse, and just one thing that I don't think I talked about last week was just the abysmal wasteland, the unrecognizable landscape of after the collapse, and just everything is covered in this moon dust. There's this one particular shot where I'll jump forward a little bit. The sound of those towers collapsing is, you can tell, like the audio on the camera is, when something gets too loud and it starts getting just crackles,
distorted, and exactly. Like you can tell it is so loud that camera can't even pick it up. Yes. It just gives you an idea of like how it must have been deafening in person. If you talk about what we talked about, all the steel and everything just being pulverized, basically.
Yeah.
How loud that must be. But there's a shot where it's collapsing and he's running away, and he kind of turns the camera around as he's running, and you can
Yes.
see the billow of the smoke going towards him, and he kind of parks it in front of this van and just hovers down, and it just goes from broad daylight to
Yeah.
silence and just black.
Yeah.
And you can hear him start to cough, and I mean you can hear debris hitting all around him, and it was something like out of a movie, man. I rewound that moment 4 or 5 times and rewatched that sequence. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. It's not actually in that documentary, but there was just like, it was just one of those moments that like, it just had you thinking, what is real life? But there is other footage of a news crew who was filming the collapse from very close enough to be in the debris field or the cloud, right? And they do the same thing, right? You can see the shadow actually cast behind the guy, but he takes the camera, is holding it backwards and basically sprinting with it like it's a backwards briefcase. And you watch this cloud, there's people running behind him, and you watch this cloud literally eat people. I mean, these people running behind him that just, they're eaten by this monstrosity. And it's nutty, man. It really is. It's, you know, to see it in that detail, you know, like I said, like we talked about it last week, 9/11 was 20 something years ago, but in the scope of things, it's not that long ago. Cameras were still okay. You know, they weren't this, but you know, cameras shot pretty good footage, and that's a pretty good and pretty sobering look at a very terrible thing. So
I was pretty shocked at just how clear and clean some of that footage was.
Yeah.
One of the more terrifying parts to me is early on when the firefighters they run into Tower 1, and knowing that everything kind of collapses, but also knowing that they're in that building, it was very nerve-wracking, man. And then when you described it, you know, when they said that people were jumping, and you described it as, you know, like a car crash, like that loud of an impact. And you can hear it kind of happening in the background before they address it or just, you know, tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And then they tell you what it is, and you hear a couple more of them, and it's gut-wrenching to know that that's what that is.
When you realize, when they explain what it is and you realize it, now your ears are very like keyed in on it for the rest of the documentary, and it is constant. It is very constant. I did want to kind of push a correction for last week. I talked about another documentary that I had watched on Netflix that kind of went over 9/11 and then kind of the fractal kind of aftermath of that, leading to the War on Terror and Guantanamo Bay. Turning Point, that series is called. It's called Turning Point.
Okay.
I think it's 9/11 and the War on Terror. That is a series. And I know this is, we're kind of outside of the umbrella of What Are You Crushing here, but as a recommendation to you, that documentary is very good. They also have another one about the Cold War, which is a little more old fogey of me, I will say, but they connect it to a lot of stuff that's going on geopolitically today in Europe and Russia and all that stuff.
Right.
So that series and the way they kind of lay those events out and tell those stories is very. You know, they go all the way from basically World War II and the atom bombs that ended the war with Japan to now where the conflict with Ukraine and Russia is going on. So, Turning Point is that series. But, that's also another really good look at not just 9/11, but just kind of everything that happened as a result. And, you know, you realize that, you know, it's kind of you don't think about it because it was normal for us growing up, but we were at war for 20 plus years because of that day. And it's just, you know, you say it out loud and you're like, oh,
right.
Yikes, man.
Yeah. No, man, it was crazy. It was a good recommendation, but it was definitely, as you're watching it, it's just like,
woof.
You don't feel great. Yeah. I mean, it's just very like, oh man.
Yeah.
The last part I wanted to mention that really struck out to me is it's hard to understand like the sheer force of the impact of something like that happening, like the actual like plane hitting a tower, because they talk about on the first floor how jet fuel and fire had shot all the way down the elevator shaft
Yeah.
and basically engulfed the first floor. It hit at the top of that tower,
Yeah.
and there were people on fire on the first floor,
Yeah.
which was
The
crazy to me. That's just when you think about that, it just kind of puts the power of it into perspective.
It does, yeah. I won't get too much into it again here because we've already hit on it last week. But like I said, I did kind of, for better or worse, kind of take a deep dive on a lot of the like structural and engineering impacts of 9/11, right? Just like, you know, not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not like, well, why did this really happen? It's not that.
Right.
I just like wanting to know, like, why did they collapse?
Right.
You know, what happened? What you know, what happened to the plane? You know.
Right.
But yeah, the fact that like, and I mean, you just underestimate how massive these buildings were. I mean, for a plane to hit on the North Tower, I think it would have been like the 70th, 80th floor, something like that, way up. I mean, even these buildings are 110 stories tall. Even a 70-story building is still pretty big. And for that flame, that jet fuel to just shoot down 80 stories and hurt people at the bottom is
crazy.
Is
crazy.
Very
and
crazy.
The windows were all blown out. They said on the first floor, like all the windows were just shattered.
Yeah.
From the impact, you know, at the top of the building, which is just wild, man.
It's crazy.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cannot recommend that documentary enough. That's the no. I think if you just Google I think it's NAUDET or TT maybe. Brothers 9/11 documentary. You'll get a hit on YouTube. It's free to watch on YouTube. Yeah. If you're not in a great mood, maybe don't throw it on. Maybe just watch Family Guy or something. But very sobering look at that stuff. But I'm glad you watched it, man. I'm glad you took that journey with me. I appreciate that.
Good rec.
Thanks. Let's hit some questions.
All right. Ewolf 019. I don't remember. Yeah, did not read this. A little bit of a different write-in, but I have a recipe for all and a question. We'll go question first.
All right.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor? Do you have one? Because I do.
I think I do. Yeah. What's yours?
Pecan pralines and cream.
It's like a 50-year-old answer. Pecan pralines and cream? What brand makes that, first of all?
Bluebell.
Bluebell? Okay.
Bluebell.
I don't.
My wife says I like old man ice cream, so that I like butter crunch.
I feel like praline is. I think you have to be a minimum age of 45 to eat a praline.
No. They're fire.
That's not an appetizing name for a nut.
Don't judge it on its name.
A praline sounds like an alien.
And cream though.
Alien subspecies. If I put crickets in cream, are you going to eat that? Live worms?
No.
Worms and cream?
No.
The cream can only do so much. I like chocolate chip cookie dough. I don't eat ice cream a lot, but if I eat it, I'm going full blown like, hey, 20,000 calories. Let's go.
Cookie dough's fire.
Cookie dough,
especially when you get like a really good piece.
Oof. I'm telling you.
If anybody wants to actually make this, his recipe: 2 cups of milk, 1.5 cups whipping cream, 1 serving chocolate whey protein powder, 2 scoops cacao powder,
yeah, like cocoa powder,
cacao powder, 1/3 cup maple syrup. This ice cream is insane. So his favorite ice cream apparently is homemade.
I have had homemade ice cream. It's not bad. It's a lot of work.
Was it with snow?
No, it was with ice and
No.
just like use salt, sugar, and vanilla.
There's no way it's as good as like Bluebell, right?
Yeah,
like the juice not worth the squeeze.
You can just go get ice cream. I feel like if you're making your own ice cream, you have an ice cream problem.
Thanks, E-Wolf.
Just
Maybe
go,
we'll try that.
Yeah, go get some as a treat.
Maybe next time Josh and I hang out, we'll make some ice cream
No,
together.
we're not doing that.
We'll make some ice cream and go listen to smooth jazz.
Well, we might do the jazz part.
Chief, Coolboy 3010. Have you considered doing some voice acting for the military? I don't know if that's possible, but you could do it. Like the commercial, you know?
Be all you can be.
Yeah. You hit them up yet? You hit up the Army and said, hey.
No. I run a strict don't shit where you eat policy. If someone wants to talk about that, like me acting or me making videos or stuff at work, I'll humor it. But I normally, like, I go in, I'm fairly all business. So if I do, did we get a question about, did he ask a question about this last week? I feel like I fielded a similar question recently. I would love to do voice acting stuff, period. I would love to do a voice in a cartoon or a video game. I think that would be absolutely radical.
Right.
Doing it for the Army would be fine. If they asked me to do it, I would be happy to do it. I'm not going to go ask them if they want me to do it, though. I would rather do it for something fun and something creative and something cool. Yeah.
The few, the proud, the Army.
That's exactly. Yep. It's the Marines, but you don't know. It's all right.
I do know. That was a joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No. For me, since becoming a dad, what is one thing your wife does as a mom that you appreciate? Hashtag dadmerd.
Dadmerd.
A lot of the overnight stuff, she is actually staying home from work. So her doing anything like in the middle of the night or way early in the morning before I'm actually waking up, she's kind of shouldered that, past me waking up, past me going to sleep, pre me waking up. She's really taken on. So yeah. I just appreciate that so much, so I can do what I need to do.
Big help to have a co-parent, a spouse who is like acknowledges your weaknesses as far as like sleep schedule or stuff like that, and they are willing to kind of work with you, because there's times of the day where I'm like, this is a great opportunity for me to be in charge and you to go to sleep.
Right.
But but work with each other.
I do try to pay it back. During the evenings is typically the time where I'll kind of step in and let her step away. So, but the overnight stuff, middle of the night stuff, she's really taking that on, which is great. Good question. Brave Athos. Not really a question. Might be a bit meta. I don't even know what that means. I know what meta is, but I don't understand in that context. Might be a bit meta. But what's the best platform to listen, watch the pod to support you guys? I'm primarily an audio listener on Spotify, but recently I swapped over to YouTube. Same awesome content on both, but if one is better for you guys, I'll happily stick with that. I would say YouTube is our preferred conduit, but I wouldn't tell you to go to YouTube if it was like any more inconvenient for you. I want you to listen, whatever's the easiest for you to do. But if it's actually all the same, it's all equal, I would say YouTube. I think that's kind of where our main efforts are.
Yeah. I think we made a big deal early on that we wanted to have a video component, and I think the intent in long term is to kind of grow it to not just be kind of this virtual space, right? Like we want to have the ability to do it co-located full time with the studio and have guests in house a lot more often. But yeah, like there's things that you don't catch on the audio version, we try to make the video offering rewarding in whatever way that we can. But at the end of the day, like, there's some podcasts I prefer to watch on video, especially if they've got, guests or anything like that. There's other ones that it's like, it's just two guys talking.
Sure.
This is probably Spotify, this one. So maybe that's on us. We can't say, hey, do it on YouTube if we're not bringing something to the video offering that is, extra special and makes you feel like, I want to see this in action. But
Our faces.
yeah, look at this. You don't want to miss out
Extra
on this,
special.
right? Yeah. But no, honestly, it just boils down. There's a reason it's not exclusive to one or the other. We want you guys to be able to listen however you can. My thought is, like, any podcast that I've ever listened to for a long term, and I find out they have a video component, I'm eventually making my way to that video component, and I start watching video episodes as well. So hopefully, if you're a longtime audio listener, consider this your open invitation to check out a video. It is the same thing, but you can see us say the words.
Visual.
You
want one more, or are you done?
No, let's do one more. Why not?
Edward Pilu. I'm interested to hear your take on this, honestly.
Okay.
With so many games being remastered or rebooted lately, how do you feel about the balance between nostalgia and innovation in the gaming industry? Also, Space Marine 2, yes or no?
So I'm going to try not to be too extra on this because I actually have a lot of thoughts about this. And it goes beyond video games. I want to start by saying I hate what's going on in Hollywood right now. Nothing that is doing well in Hollywood right now is not derivative of something else. The movies that do gangbusters are always based on some kind of pre-existing IP. Sometimes that's okay. Dune was really good. Dune is based on a book. Deadpool Wolverine did really well. Based on, obviously, like, characters that have a lot going for them right now. A lot of cinematic capital, we'll call them. But then you've got, like, your Furiosas that did not do well. And that is still part of a franchise. It's part of a film franchise, though. You have a lot of, I think, great or potentially great movies that are either coming out and not doing well at all, or you have, or they are not even making it to the theater. They're just going straight to streaming because we have shown them as an audience. We just want to see Avengers and maybe Star Wars and Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Or Beetlejuice, which I could give a shit, honestly. Like, why is there two of them? That we are getting to that point where I see like Ghostbusters.
Right.
Don't need more Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Clearly, we don't need more Ghostbusters. We don't need more Beetlejuice. We don't need more of any of these series that have been open and shut for 20 or 30 years. I love The Matrix. The Matrix is one of my favorite movies. The second and third one weren't great, but at least they followed the continuity of the first movie a little bit. Right. The fourth one is fucking stupid. It is one of the worst. Hey, we waited 20 years and made another one. It's one of the worst offenders. Anyway, film. With video games, it's a little bit different because video game diminishing returns aren't quite the same as they don't function the same as movies do. There's a lot of video games that I do want to replay and re-experience, maybe with modern mechanics. Going back to games, like one thing, like I want Cody to play Metal Gear Solid. That's gonna be a challenge for him because he's not as nostalgic a gamer as me, so the tank controls, fixed camera stuff is probably not gonna feel as fun to him. Even though for me, I loved it. But yeah, I would absolutely love to play a version of that where the camera swivels like, the 6-axis camera is like one of those things. Whoever invented it, I don't know, like Gears of War or Quake or whoever the fuck, like struck gold. Put that in every game. I don't care if I'm shooting, farming, swinging a sword. I don't give a shit. I want to be able to swivel the camera around and look at my fit. But like I said, the diminishing returns don't work quite the same. So like Delta, that's coming out, Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater, Delta. Yeah. I'm amped for that because it's that, right? It is from what I understand from the initial impressions, it is the game with a fresh coat of paint. They didn't change anything. They didn't leave a hair out of place.
One for one.
Pretty much. The Resident Evil remakes that have been coming out are not quite that. They've added stuff. They've taken some stuff out. They've kind of changed some aspects of the story from what I understand. I'm not a huge Resident Evil guy, but they're still good. People are still playing these and still saying, like, the spirit is there, right? Yeah. So I think it doesn't work quite the same. Like, I think we vastly underestimate, rather, how similar video games and movies are. Because And I think that's precisely why video games don't work as movies very well. They're better as TV shows because if you think about how you play a video game, you don't play it all in a 90-minute setting.
Right.
A video game that takes 90 minutes to beat is a piece of shit. But a video game that you watch over the course of several weeks or whatever, days even, that's fun. That's investment.
Yeah.
I think like Fallout, The Last of Us, these shows that are based on video games that have performed well point directly to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a long diatribe.
No, that was great. I really don't have anything to add. I knew that you would have like an A1 answer for that. Space Marine 2, yes or no?
Are you familiar with the Warhammer 40K Space Marine stuff?
I've seen it all over social and YouTube, but I haven't watched any of it.
So this is an IP that I know it's been around for several years. It's based on books. There's people have been painting miniatures and doing all that stuff for a long time, but it is like in the same way that like D&D got you beat up in high school and now it is like the crux of cool things that you can do that's considered like whatever nerdy or edgy or whatever. It's climbing that rope. It's climbing that ladder. I think Warhammer is coming into the cultural zeitgeist in a way that is very surprising. That said, the game looks awesome. Have you seen any gameplay for Space Marine 2?
Not really, no.
It looks epic. Look up a cutscene from that game. It looks freaking cool. But and it looks like honestly a decent supplement to anyone who got burned out on Helldivers. Do I want to check it out? Yeah. Am I going to check it out anytime soon? Probably not. And I might actually hit some FOMO on that, but I'm not a huge Warhammer guy. I think it's cool. I'm not into it. And there's no hate whatsoever. I don't have a good entry point into that other than people saying you would like it. So, but yeah, Space Marine looks dope. Maybe Space Marine is my entry point. If it's still popping 3 months from now or getting better even, maybe then I take a dive. But I've, as with Helldivers, that game is useless to me now. It's the player count's dropped. They're not adding anything to it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
done.
Yeah, it's the gameplay loop was already pretty repetitive, but they really just have not poured into that. I think in any meaningful way since it came out back in March or February. I can't remember, but yeah, I need to see a game 6 months after launch that's still like killing it or doing better. Like, give me a Destiny. One thing I will regret probably for the rest of my life. I missed the entire Destiny 2 train. I know people that lived and died by that game. I never touched it. Loved Destiny 1. Never touched Destiny 2. And I regret that. So, but you could have hopped into
right that ship.
You could have hopped into that at any point and had a good time, from what I understand.
Right.
I could write that ship, but Destiny just released their final DLC, and I don't know. It feels weird to
FOMO into it.
I know. I can't do it, man. Can't do it. Hey,
there you have it, folks.
There you have it, folks. Hey, thank you guys for writing in. We want to say thank you to anyone who is listening or watching, either one. There's my son dancing in the background there, doing the Gangnam style. Hey, if you like what you saw, subscribe on the YouTubes. If you like what you heard, leave us a review. You can leave a comment, as I understand it, on Spotify. That's a neat feature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Give us some love. Give us some love, baby.
Do it.
Cody's looking all dark all of a sudden. He's looking.
That light was killing my eyes, and we're basically at the end now, so just shut it off.
You got to hit it with the dimmer, baby. You look like I got a bad sunburn. No. See, you wouldn't know any better if you were listening. But Cody looks. I'll look at him. He's trying to find the sweet spot.
That's as much as I can bear to look into anymore.
I
came into this episode with a slight headache.
And
staring at like a bright ass light for an hour does not help.
Mine's kind of offset, but maybe that's why you look like you are nice and full of color, and I look like a crypt keeper. But anyway, hey, we want to say thank you. We'll be back next week for episode 47 of the Hardpoint. Baja blessings on your tiny little heads, boys and girls. We love you. Get fisted. Get fisted.
Fisted. Fine.
My fists are hungry.